Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of my 3-part series where I rank the DisneyToon Studios films best to worst. Last time we looked at 16 films from this 47 film catalog, and now we are going to be ranking another 16. So anyway, strap in and let's get started. At number 31, we had The Little Mermaid Ariel's Beginning, which is sort of the swan song for DisneyToon Studios' traditional animation, as this is the final traditionally animated film that this studio produced. And overall, it's a pretty basic and generic film overall, with some pretty animation, but overall, was this really a story that needed to be told? Not really. I think overall, it's completely harmless. I really like Ariel in this film. The songs aren't that memorable. I do particularly like the villain played by Sally Fields. I think she is a lot of fun. I also kind of enjoyed Jim Cummings as King Trident. I thought he was a lot of fun. He did sound a lot like Pete. But overall, I think this is a completely harmless addition to the DisneyToon Studios catalog. I think it's a lot of fun in some places. Sometimes it's just a little generic, but overall, I had fun. At number 30, we have The Lion King 2: Simba's Pride. Now, this might be a little higher on a lot of people's lists, but overall, I found this film just kind of bland. It is overall enjoyable, and I think it has some really good songs and some great animation, and I do like the idea of basing it off yet another Shakespeare play, this time Romeo and Juliet, and I like that idea. I don't particularly care for Simba's daughter or the guy that she falls in love with. Overall, it is kind of generic. I do really like the idea that we get introduced to Scar's own pride and how they are dealing with things, but it just feels like a kind of basic sequel. There's not really anything that's like, oh man, this is great, this needed to be made. It's completely harmless, it can be fun, but it's pretty generic and forgettable. At number 29, this might surprise some people, but I'm putting Planes, Fire, and Rescue. I actually liked this film. Yeah, the Planes movies are considered to be some of the worst things that Disney has made, it feels like. And this is a pretty generic and bland sequel. Part of a generic and bland franchise. Again, continuing sort of off of Cars. But I found this story at least a little bit more engaging than the first one. It doesn't completely just go beat for beat what the original film was, and it feels unique to the Cars sort of universe as well. I do think there is some good stuff here. I laughed quite a bit throughout this, and also I think it has some nice emotional beats with a certain character that feels a lot like Doc from Cars, but overall, I think this needs to be looked at a little bit more, and seen as, not the best thing ever, maybe not even a good movie, but at least better than people give it credit for. At number 28, we have A Very Merry Pooh Year. Now, I'm a sucker for Winnie the Pooh, and this was just a really heartwarming and really enjoyable film that is extremely short and sweet, but overall, it doesn't do much that we haven't already seen before. It does feel, in a lot of ways, to be a conclusion to the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. In fact, I looked this up, that it's almost considered almost like a series finale to Winnie the Pooh. I don't know, I looked that up on Wikipedia, but maybe there's not any truth to that. But overall, I think this is really enjoyable. It's something that I'm definitely going to be watching from now on during the Christmas season. It's really cute. The characters are, of course, as likable as ever. And overall, it's completely harmless. It's not going to knock your socks off, but overall, I think if you're a fan of Winnie the Pooh, this is something you're going to have to watch. At number 27, this will be another surprise to people, The Jungle Book 2. I really actually liked this movie, and it's surprising because a lot of people rank this as one of the worst of the Disney direct-to-video sequels, but overall, I think it's a pretty enjoyable film. It's not perfect or anything, and I think the original film is by far better. The animation is a little weird because it is beautiful, but it just feels so out of place compared to the original animation. They don't try to recreate it as much as they do with other films on this list. But overall, I think it's enjoyable enough. It does have some annoying characters, such as this little kid that just will not shut up. But I think the finale of this film is extremely memorable and just a lot of fun as we get yet another confrontation with our villain. I also really like how Mowgli has to decide yet again between the human world and the jungle world, and I think that's a nice little struggle for him. They don't do much with it, but overall, I wasn't really expecting much from this film, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. At number 26, we have Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas, and this film, again, like Belle's Magical World, takes place in between the events of the original film during Christmas time. And overall, I really enjoyed this little midquel. I think it does a good job of really putting you in the Christmas spirit. And even though it's completely pointless, you don't need this film, I do like some of the characters it does introduce, specifically this angel character that I really did like. I also really liked the animation, but I feel like the star of this show is the incredibly terrifying CGI organ played by Tim Curry, who is just amazing as a villain. Like, his motivations really don't make any sense at all, but I just like Tim Curry in this role, and the CGI is so strange and off-putting that it was just a blast to watch. I really enjoyed this film a lot, guys, and again, I think this is a film that I might watch during the Christmas time every now and then. It was a lot of fun. Again, I wasn't expecting much, but it really pulled through for me. Next we have Lady and the Tramp 2 Scamp's Adventure, which is a film that is extremely cute. It's very adorable. It's fun. I like the character of Scamp and how he's kind of, well, a scamp. He doesn't fit in with the rest of his family, and so he leaves and goes on his own adventure. And I think the journey he goes on is honestly a lot of fun. I think overall this movie is cute. There's not much going on in terms of story or anything, but it's just a little fun adventure that was enjoyable to watch. You're not gonna think this is the best thing ever, but I don't think that was the intention. It's just another little adventure in the Lady and the Tramp world, and it's cute and harmless. At number 24, we have 101 Dalmatians to Patch's London Adventure. Now, this and the previous film could be completely interchangeable, but I overall like this film a little bit more, and a lot of that is due to it really just being a lot of fun. A lot more fun than the previous film, but I really like how they recaptured the animation style of the original film with this scratchy kind of artwork. And overall, I think Patch's adventure is really, really fun as he gets involved with one of his favorite dog characters from a TV show that he watches. I really like Cruella de Vil returning and this new character that's involved with her. I think this is a really funny film. It's overall just extremely enjoyable. It's lighthearted, and it's really a film that I think is a little overlooked and should be looked at more fondly. At number 23, we have DuckTales the Movie, The Treasure of the Lost Lamp, and this is very interesting as it is the first film made by DisneyToon Studios, and it is a really fun film with some great fun characters and great situations. It's a very funny film, and if you are a fan of DuckTales, you are going to really enjoy this show. However, as somebody that really hasn't watched the show really at all as far as I can remember. You might be a little lost with the characters and the characterizations of them. Overall, I found this really enjoyable. I did find it dull in some places, but if you are a fan of the show, I think that this is going to be more beneficial to you. It's still a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the animation, the story, but overall, it's not my favorite. And maybe if I watch the TV show and then go back to this, maybe I'll have a change of heart. But overall, it's a fun movie. At number 22, we have Springtime with Roo, yet another Winnie the Pooh film that is extremely cute, adorable, and yet it is not really a Roo-centric film. This is more a rabbit-centric film, and in that regard, I think it is really cute and a lot of fun, but in a way, kind of just not the best thing that has come from the Winnie the Pooh license. I think this is extremely cute. The animation is a lot of fun. The characters, yet again, like with A Very Merry Pooh Year, they are just as likable as ever. It's overall a fun film that children can enjoy and adults all the same. Of course, it's not my favorite Winnie the Pooh project that they've ever done, but I think this is a fun time. At number 21, we have The Pirate Fairy, which is one of the Tinker Bell films. And this one is definitely my least favorite. I really do enjoy all of them, but this one in particular really let me down. First of all, the Pirate Fairy herself is just not that interesting, and Tinkerbell really feels pushed to the side in this film, and I just didn't find this story particularly engaging. The one saving grace that it does have is it introduces a very young James T. Hook, who is played by Tom Hiddleston himself, and he is really good in this. I think he really does a good job of doing the best impersonation of Captain Hook that he possibly can. I think his character is a lot of fun. I like the banter between him and the other pirates. But overall, I just find this one completely forgettable compared to the other Tinkerbell films. It's a really cute film. Again, it's not a bad Tinkerbell film. I don't think there's any bad Tinkerbell films, but it's definitely the least engaging and just not as entertaining. At number 20, we have the second Tinkerbell film, Tinkerbell and the Lost Treasure. This one, again, disappointed me a little bit. I did enjoy it for the most part, but I found the characters rather annoying, specifically Tinkerbell in this film, and when she has to deal with the Jesse McCartney character, and just the way they get involved with just, things just not going right between them. They get angry with each other for really no reason at all, and it just felt really annoying. But the stuff that I really did like was when Tinkerbell went out on her own adventure to find this lost treasure, and that stuff was really engaging. Also, the animation in this is very beautiful. It's an early version of CGI for this studio, and they would eventually get better with the CGI, but I think this is a very colorful and beautiful looking world. I like the world of Pixie Hollow, and overall this is a fun film. It's definitely on the weaker end of the Tinkerbell films, but I do like it more than the Pirate Fairy. At number 19, we have Mickey, Donald, Goofy, the Three Musketeers. This is just an extremely fun and witty film that I really enjoyed with traditional animation that is honestly extremely beautiful, and I like how it takes the Three Musketeers story and does something a little bit different with it, making it extremely childish in a way, but also incredibly engaging and fun. I really like the characters in this. My favorite character is the villain, Pete. He is fantastic in this, and I think it does a good job of really telling the Three Musketeers story for a child, and overall, it's a lot of fun. I think the jokes really do land in this. It's extremely cute, and something that I could definitely see myself rewatching many times after. At number 18, we have Aladdin and the King of Thieves. I was not ready to enjoy this film as much as I did, and this is just a fantastic, fun, really enjoyable sequel to Aladdin, and it's a lot better than Return of Jafar. I think this film just brings its A game with telling a very engaging story, focusing more on Aladdin and the relationship with his father, who is the King of Thieves, and he's played by none other than John Rhys-Davies, who is fantastic in this role. And they also bring back Robin Williams as Genie, who is better than ever, and just the jokes that he makes in this film, they go by so fast, but when you hear them, they are just so funny. He makes fun of Mrs. Doubtfire. Like, there's so many references in this one little movie, and I also think it does a good job of really bringing home this Aladdin franchise with an ending that I think is extremely worthy of the franchise. And also, it uses a final theme of Arabian Nights that was originally going to be used in the original film, but was repurposed for this film. And I think it really makes the whole trilogy really feel like a cohesive whole. I really enjoyed this film a lot. At number 17, we have Tarzan 2, which is an extremely likable and fun film, and I think I said this previously in my last video, but I think a midquel is a great way to tell a story because you can really bring in some more character development in between moments of, that were in the first film when Tarzan is a child and then eventually becomes an adult. You have many more options to tell, many more adventures with this character, and I think it does a really good job. The animation is extremely well done and beautiful. The music is good. Once again, we get another Phil Collins song, which is just really fun. It doesn't fit with the movie, much like with how the Tarzan soundtrack was with the original film, but the music nonetheless is really good. I like Tarzan's journey through this film as he feels more and more like an outcast, and he gets introduced to a new array of apes that are a lot of fun. Overall, this film is extremely enjoyable. I really liked it. It is definitely one of the best films in the DisneyToon Studios catalog. And finally, our last film we're going to be talking about today, number 16, is an extremely goofy movie. I really, really enjoy this film. In fact, I really like both Goofy movies, but this one in particular is still just a lot of fun, despite it not being as good as that first one. I really think the comedy hits home. I think the emotional beats with Goofy are extremely strong, just like the first one, and I really just like the humor in this, and there's just something fun about seeing Goofy in college. His son, Max, having to deal with him being in college with him in the same classes. Overall, the thing that really holds this movie back, and I think it holds back both Goofy movies, is the character of Max being just the worst person ever. He is an awful person. He is an awful protagonist, but I think what makes this film work is Goofy and his comedy and really his story as he tries to go back to college and, make something of himself because he originally dropped out of college. And I think it's still a story that is really fun. It's not the best of these two movies, but it is still really cute. It's got some great moments, and I really, really enjoyed this film. And that ends it for part 2 of my DisneyToon Studios ranking. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you return for my third part in this series as we look at the final 15 films in this ranking. But thank you guys once again for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this video. How would you rank these films? Did you enjoy this? But as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next review.